So we're going to be installing Raspbian on a Raspberry Pi. What you're going to need for this is a Raspberry Pi. It doesn't matter which version. I'm going to be using the Raspberry Pi 3, and you're going to need to download Raspbian, which is the operating system for Raspberry Pi released by Raspberry Pi. And you're going to need an SD card to format and then save all the image files to. So I just went to raspberrypi.org. I'm going to go to downloads, and I'm going to select the Raspbian download. And because I already have it downloaded, I'm not going to actually download it, but I am going to be using the light version, which is essentially a non-desktop version that allows me to just access Raspbian using the terminal. So I don't need to access any of the GUI kind of stuff. You can do that, of course, by downloading this version, but I'm not going to be doing that. So just go ahead and download that zip file. And then what you're also going to need is something to flash the image onto the SD card. So I use Etcher, which I find very simple, but I think Raspberry Pi has also released the Raspberry Pi Imager that is also available on their download page. So depending on which operating system you're using, you can download that, or you can go to Etcher and download it for the operating system that you're using. So the first thing you're going to need to do is insert your SD card, and you're going to need to make sure that you have formatted it. If you haven't, Etcher will do it for you anyways, so it's not too big of a deal. And so yeah, once you have Etcher open, you can select a file that you want to flash. So I'm going to check in my downloads folder. Make sure you flash the image file. So if you downloaded the zip file, you're going to have to unzip that. So I've already done it. So I'm going to select the image file right there. And then the Apple SD card reader is reading the SD card. So just hit flash and insert your password and just let that go. Okay, once that flash is complete, you can go ahead and just quit this. And what you want to do, just to be on the safe side, is eject the SD card. So you can just take it out. And I'm just using the SD card adapter. And you can just take out the actual micro SD card and insert it into your Raspberry Pi. Okay, so the next step is, once you have the SD card flashed, just insert that into your Raspberry Pi, and then just make sure you have a keyboard connected, and also the network cable, and the HDMI cable, so that you can see kind of what's happening on the screen. So once you have all those plugged in, plug in the power cable at the end, and then you'll start to see a bunch of lines coming through the screen. And so at the end of it, you'll come up with a login screen. So what you're going to need to do is type in the username, which is Pi by default, and then the password is Raspberry by default. So once you do that, you'll end up on a screen like this, which is like a terminal. And so what you're going to want to do is type in sudo raspi config, and that'll give you the Raspberry Pi configuration screen. So from here, you can do basically everything you need to do to set up your Raspberry Pi. You can set a password, do some network options, enable SSH. So that's one of the most important things. So you want to go into interfacing options, SSH, and enable that. I already have it enabled here, which is how I'm logged in. But what that'll allow you to do is connect to your Raspberry Pi from a different computer. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm on my Mac and I'm connected to the Raspberry Pi. And then you can do a bunch of other stuff. You can change your host name. You can figure out memory splits. So for example, you can change the GPU to have a lot less memory going towards it, because you don't really have a desktop here. We're working only in the command line. So you can change your memory split from 64 megabytes, I think the default is, to 2, which is what I've done. But you can do a bunch of other stuff. So once you have that finished, you'll end up back on this screen, and you can use this now to basically do whatever you want to do. So you can install a new web server, you can create a RetroPie from here, you can set it up to do anything you want, really. So yeah, that's it. Happy coding.